Thank y'all for being here again. This is a very exciting time to come back for me, to come back to Charlotte, where our story as a family all started. We felt so much support from the community, from our family, our friends, everybody that's been a part of this journey from day one. And we felt the love yesterday at Davidson, this morning at City Hall in Charlotte, and now here at the Carol Hefner Center to celebrate an amazing book that my mom poured her heart into. It's called Fierce Love. I'm sure you all know that by now, but excited to speak with her in person, ask her some questions about the journey, not just writing the book, but before and after, and what she hopes the book will do for everybody who reads it. But obviously, you know, this is my mom, Sonia Curry. Give it up for Sonia Curry. Obviously, her book, Fierce Love, is out on stands, or in stands, on stands, how you say it? It's on shelves?
On shelves.
It's in, wherever you get your books, go get your book. Not only was she able to write this book, but we've always had a joy for reading. It's something that she instilled in me, my brother Seth, who's here, and Sadell, who is here, I believe. Where y'all at? There you go. Gang, gang.
West Side, son. How you doing? West Side.
As a lifelong educator, and I see Miss India Adams, who's here. Y'all give it up for India. They are a dynamic duo in terms of instilling the importance of education in our lives. We went to Lake Norman Day School / Christian Montessori School / every name that it had throughout the years. But instilling a joy for learning, a joy for reading, and that becoming something that you can carry with you through the rest of your life. I took those lessons and was able to partner with an amazing company called Literati, who is helping share the love of reading to the masses around the world. And as a part of that partnership, we launched the Literati Book Club, which has been an amazing experience so far of bringing people along on a journey of sharing stories, themes, writers that have overcome the odds, have taken the advantage of the opportunity to share their stories of triumph, of overcoming obstacles, and allowing people to enjoy these novels, to join in conversations, and create a community around this book club. And with this book club, we are able to announce that Fierce Love will be the choice this month for September, so it's pretty cool to be able to share that with you guys. We are hosting this conversation here in Charlotte, our hometown, where my mom has been a lifelong educator, and she inspired a love of learning, again, with me and my siblings. And that's something that I've been blessed with my wife, Aisha, to pass on to our kids, and something that we have worked to bring to our community in Oakland and around the country. September is National Literacy Month, and earlier today, we partnered with Literati to donate books to the Ada Jenkins Center up in Davidson. Obviously, I went to Davidson College. Let's give it up for Davidson College. We donated those books to the Ada Jenkins Center to honor Literacy Month, and my literacy hero, Sonia Curry here. It's a place that's close to my heart up there, and does incredible outreach and incredible work with kids in that community to instill a love of learning and give them an opportunity to invest in themselves in a very safe place. So I'm excited about that. Mom, thank you for being here. Thank everybody for being here. Thank you for writing this book. Thank you for spreading your love of reading to me and countless others that you come in contact with. And for everyone who's here in the audience and everyone who's watching at home, thank you for reading along with us this month and joining us today for this conversation. So without further ado, let's get into it, if you don't mind, all right? So, like I kind of just talked about, Mom, you're an educator and have always made literacy and learning a core part of your life and your children's lives. Was there, kind of going back to the beginning, was there a literacy hero or an educator in your own life that instilled a love of learning and reading for you?
Well, absolutely. I think one of the most influential people in my life that I actually saw reading and was my grandmother, Evelyn. And she liked to read all those romance romance novels, the paperback that you smell, you know, that nice little smell on the paperback with the white guy with the muscles and the long hair flowing in the air. What was his name? What was his name? There you go.
Fabio?
Huh?
Who's him up? Fabio?
Fabio.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fabio?
Yeah.
Rating my hyper-realistic cakes.
Dog bone cake.
6 out of 10. May trick some.
Apple cake.
10 out of 10. Tricks most.
Garlic cake.
9 out of 10.
Who's him up? Fabio?
Fabio.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fabio?
Yeah. So yeah, and just going up to my Aunt Lulabelle's house and going through her shelves and seeing the books and just being curious. So you know, the women in my life, the matriarchs of our family, always had a book in their hand, always.
And so you seeing that as a kid, that's part of the joy of, like, you know, seeing somebody with the book, seeing them, you know, carrying it with them wherever they go, finding those quiet times to read, that made an impact on you. I kind of advance a couple of years and think about, like, you finding your passion in life and how you wanted to impact those around you. Did you always know that you wanted to be an educator, or was that something that kind of came to you through your college experience? Like, where was that seed planted?
Well, that seed was actually planted in me, I guess, at 9 years of age. In the book, and I talk about a young man at the time, Philip, who didn't know how to read. And one day, just being an advocate of people learning and achieving things, I just sat him down one day and said, no, we're gonna learn how to read. And thankfully, he was like, okay, Sonia. And so every day he would come over and sit on the front steps of our trailer, and I started with the alphabet and taught him the alphabet, and then I used the books, Dick and Jane books. How many people remember the Dick and Jane books back in the day? You might not want to raise your hand because that's going to age you, so I might sit on your hand. But he would come over and we would start with those books, and the next thing you know, he was reading. And so I think there, seeing that sense of accomplishment and being able to just pour into someone and it be a success really stirred me on to saying, I want to teach. And then I would have summer school in the summers in the trailer, hot, had bunk beds, only room enough for bunk beds in our bedroom, and we had the old panel closets, and I would take chalk and write on it. And it was about 5 of the other kids in the trailer park that would come every day, and we'd have recess and snack. I was regimented, and I had all the ditto sheets from during the school year. My teachers would give me the leftover ditto sheets, and I would give them homework, and they'd come back the next day, and I'm like, all right, there's something to this. They're coming back. So that's when I really, really knew I wanted to teach, was then.
It's crazy to think about that inspiring you and to now go through your journey as a head mistress. Is that the right title?
Yeah. Head of school.
Head of school.
Director. I think, let's get away from the head part. Let's just kind of go with director, owner.
You can write your own. You wrote your own story, so write your own title. I want to make sure I get it. Yeah, but you were the leader of a school and a culture that impacted so many kids in terms of learning, and obviously we are all grateful for that, and everybody that's been in that school and that's been inspired by your leadership on that front. So going through that entire journey, I truly believe that everybody is a beacon of inspiration. Everybody has a story to tell. Everybody has an opportunity to inspire, to motivate, to encourage those around us, and whatever platform, whatever lane in life that you are in. And I feel like when it comes to writing a book, like that's a big step in terms of taking, action to putting these ideas, these stories, these examples, these values on paper and being able to share it to the world. But I'm pretty sure it's a little nerve-wracking too. Think about you being vulnerable and exposing yourself there. But all that to say, like, what inspired you to write this book and write it now?
I don't think I can actually say that I chose the timing of this book. Probably over the last 10 years, and I'll have to say when you started really succeeding on the national stage, people would stop us and they would say two things. One, oh my gosh, like, your children are great. Stefan's doing so great. But not only is he doing great on the court, he's doing great. He's a great person. So kudos to my children for conducting themselves in a way that made me look good as their mom and Dell as their dad. But that was the thing, and they were like, well, how do you do that? How did you raise such good human beings? And that, at first I would just look at them and go, well, what do you mean? Like, parents are doing this every day. I don't think I'm doing anything extraordinary, and when I'm doing, I'm just getting up every day and parenting. That's all I'm doing. And so I would hear that constantly, and then finally I started getting this thing in my spirit that said, as you all were choosing your colleges, that I need to tell the story of how you chose your colleges, because God's hand was in every moment of that. And so that was the initial inspiration, was to just tell the world about God and how he honors his plan for us, right? And to see what's planted, our purpose in us. And I originally had a different title for a possible book, and it was Showtime. The world says, show me and we'll believe, and God says, believe in me and I'll show you what I'll do. And so that's what I wanted to do. But then as the book progresses, just like anything that God plants in us, it has its own life. We just need to get out the way, and we need to be willing to let it happen and be obedient to the process. So 3 years ago, after retiring, had someone come up to me and said, you ready to do this book? And I started laughing again. I was like, all right, I'll do it, but I don't know how to do it. What do I need to do? And they're like, well, let me get you a book agent. Next thing I know, I have a book agent. Where's Callie? My daughter-in-law. And so she introduces me to a book agent. Next thing I know, I'm interviewing several ghostwriters. And then next thing I know, we're working on the book, and I send it out, and I'm like, nobody wants to read this book. Like, really? Like, okay. And I had 9 offers to publish the book. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, this is real. And then, I sign a contract, and bam, there it is. They set the date for the release. And so, I encourage everyone that when God puts something in you, you don't really have to struggle about it. You just have to walk it out. You got to get up every day, and you got to just make that decision to be obedient, to be open, and it just flows. When it's God, it flows, and it just happens. Doors open, and you move. You got to be willing to walk through it. So that's really how this book came about, and that all happened within, from the agent to the writing of the book, 18 months max, really, to do that. And to be honest with you all, and Ginger Eklund, who was my director of operations, assistant in a minute, head of school or operations, knows how scared I am of writing. Ran a school for 29 years, and I am deathly afraid to write. And I had a professor in my freshman year at Virginia Tech that I went into an English class, and she said, write from your heart. Just put your thoughts down, don't worry about anything else. And she returned that paper to me, and it was a sea of red. And from that point on, I have been afraid to write. And so I write things, I have great ideas, and I don't have the confidence that it flows right or, it's correct. And so Ginger would often help me with that. So then to even think about writing a book, just very daunting and intimidating. But with the ghostwriter who sat, I talked. We recorded transcripts. And I think I'm saying this for somebody in here who has a book, to not be afraid, because some people would be afraid to even tell this because you want to take all the credit for, I did it. Well, I did. I spoke, recorded, then we took the transcripts, we organized it, and then the book itself is really nothing like what I started it to be. It is not about y'all choosing your colleges, it's what everyone's reading now. And so, again, be encouraged. Everybody has a novel. Every day is a chapter in a book for you, and I encourage you to write it down. Take time, stop, journal, because you have a story. You have a story to tell.
Teeth sensitivity is so common. It feels like, somebody's poking directly on their nerve. I recommend Sensodyne. Sensodyne toothpaste goes inside the tooth and calms the nerve down. And my patients say, doc, it really works.
Download the Domino's app today and become a Piece of the Pie Rewards member to earn points toward free pizza.
You say you're afraid of writing, but I know there's a perfectionist deep down inside of you in terms of what the final product looked like. But I'm thinking about that process of voice recordings, interviews, writing down your thoughts, being able to pivot on what the actual through line and theme and the story and the takeaways that you want people to have. But did you find it difficult to say, okay, this is complete, like let's press send and let's go? Or did you want to keep reiterating, keep editing, keep adding, subtracting? Like, how did you get to that final product where I'm like, this is ready for the world to see?
You're exactly right. I mean, there was always things that I wanted to change. Or did I say that right? Or did I say too much? And really, honestly, it was the deadline. The publishing company was like, no more changes. You have got to get this book. And thank God, because we can over massage a message or a word, and then it lose its meaning and its purpose. And so at some point you got to let it go. It's like children. It's like having a baby. You do all you can. You guys grow up, and you got to let go of that baby and just trust that it can take care of itself. I'm out again. I had someone that I met a couple months ago and told me that this is no longer my book. Once it's out there in the world, it's everyone else's book who reads it, because then everyone interjects themselves into your stories in some form or fashion. So it's like your children, you let them go, your babies, and then they're everyone else's, including their spouses and friends and communities that they join after that as well.
So now that you're on the other side and you are now a published author, would you say you enjoyed the process? Would you, what other emotions kind of came out of that entire experience?
It's like birthing a child. I mean, it was hard. There were a couple times I wanted to call you and say, I need some money because I need to pay back these deposits I've already got. Because I don't want to do this. And I'm not joking, just saying this just to get laugh or joke. I was scared and did not want to do it. I was like, okay, now people are going to judge. Now people, you're being very vulnerable. People are going to have their opinions about things. There's other things going on in my life. And it's just like, this is, Lord, why now? And so you're going through those labor pains of all of that. And then it comes out and you're like, oh, the baby, it's so pretty. It is pretty, though. That covers it. It's pretty, and then it's like, oh gosh, I gotta take care of this baby. I gotta go do these promotions, I gotta do all of this, and you have sleepless nights, and so, there's a lot of fear, But then there's the joy at really going, it's here. It's here.
I asked that question because I wanted everybody to hear the answer, but I know for like me, Aisha, Sadell, Damien, who else was that? We were at the photo shoot for this cover, and you carried all of those emotions that day. Like that was. I want to speak for you. That was a great thing to see up close, because you see the passion, the care that's put behind this. It wasn't let's just show up and put on this nice little outfit, smile, and say I wrote a book. It was you carried the emotion of every page. I didn't know it at the time because we obviously hadn't read a transcript, hadn't read the book, didn't know what was in there. I ain't gonna lie, we were nervous about what stories were gonna come out. But to see that process and even hear the backstory of how the opportunity came to life, and then to see you in San Francisco in a studio do the cover and walk in there with confidence and this is the final product. It's amazing to see and amazing to know that you're now sharing that with the world. So to give a little sneak peek that of the emotions that you carry there, this is real. This is real for you. This is something that I know you're proud of. And I would say with that pride of this story in this book, what would you, and it's hard to synthesize probably to one bullet point, but what would you want people to take away from Fierce Love, from your story, as a way that they could implement that into their lives?
Just be intentional. Be intentional about your life. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, get up every day, be intentional. Whether you're parenting, give it all you have. If you don't have children, you're going to your job, give it all you have. With your friends, when you're with them, give them all you have. When your family, when you're with them, give them all you have. But also know that there's going to be some days where that all you have is down here. And there's going to be days when it's up here. But at the end of the day, it's all you had to give, right? And so I have a tattoo on the back of my neck. In Hebrew, it's Chem, C-H-E-M, which means grace and mercy. And I've learned not to get emotional. We spend a lot of time looking at other people. We spend a lot of time comparing ourselves. And we make mistakes. I mean, people don't believe that there are moments raising my children where I go, did I mess them up? That there are moments raising my children where I go, did I mess them up? What seeds are really in them that they're not confident about themselves, or they push themselves too much because of the way that I raised them? Maybe was I too intense all the time? Did I nurture them enough? And that's because I look at other people. I do the same thing that everybody else does. And I just want you to be encouraged. You just do what you can do. Sit back, assess it, and then the next day try to do it different. Because that's all we can do. We can't do any more than that. But if you are parenting, whatever you're doing, just give it all that you have, because you can lay down at night and go, I did all that I could do. And then that's it. That's it.
I don't have a follow-up question because I don't want to get too emotional, but I want you to be able to read a passage from your book for everybody to hear, and it'd be amazing to hear it from your voice. And I know you have something prepared on that front, so I'll let you take it away.
I am the hero of my own story. Sadell has written those words in big, bold, colorful letters. Just like her jacket on today. I stare at that sentence. I think about all the sayings, the lines of scriptures I've written all over the house, plastered on the whiteboard in the kitchen or written in the kids' rooms. Words, prayers, blessings, quotes that I want them to see and somehow absorb. These words seeping through their skin, from the walls into their heads, into their hearts. Words to live by. Sadell has done the same thing. She has role modeled me. I stare at her wall, at that saying, at those words, and my argument against her quitting basketball fritters away and dissolves into dust. Mom? Her voice sounds far away. I can barely hear her. But then she speaks again and draws me back to reality, to this spot in her room. Are you okay? Yeah, I plop down on her bed and look at her. My beautiful social butterfly, sweet, empathetic soul, gifted athlete. And I realize that what I want doesn't matter. I want her to play basketball, not for her, but for me. I want to live that sport again, vicariously. I came in to talk you into staying with basketball, I say. I figured. I'm not going to do that. I changed my mind. I look up at her wall and read that saying again. I am the hero of my own story. I have to let you make your own choices, I say. Make them and own them. I know, that's what you taught me. I'm going to play volleyball and have a social life. You can have it all, I say. I can, just not all at the same time. I laugh. Write your own story, I say. Make yourself the hero.
It's a beautiful passage, and I know there's more where that came from throughout every single page of this book. Thank you for sharing, your perspective, your passion for life, for parenting, for leading, and sharing that with everybody. Because I know that's such the monumental fact that you have a book now that people can go to for forever and learn something from about parenting, about life, about writing your own story. Kudos to you. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, and Literati for giving me this opportunity. And now it's my turn, right? To turn the table. So what did you like most about the book?
Well, when you're coming up in our household and new, your parenting style, I call it strict, loving, but different for all of us. So I know me, Seth, and Sadell all have a different perspective on how you and Pops, raised us and those interactions. Reading the stories from your point of view now that we're grown and we have kids of our own and we have an ability to shape their perspective on life, set rules and all that. My favorite part about it is just being able to compare my experience versus how you would explain it. So
There's always two sides to the story.
Two sides of the story, especially me coming to my own and in terms of even like relationships and stuff, and the way that I felt there was a standard of that you expected that I try to live by on a daily basis. But there's a story in there about me in high school and how certain decisions that I made that are kind of funny now, but I know kind of shaped the way that I wanted to live my life, and the decisions I made now and setting up my own family, and knowing that there was a very strong beginning to how you I say how you expected me to behave, and I didn't know I wasn't on that path at the beginning, and then I finally figured it out. So I would say that just the two sides of every story, the fact that now I have a blueprint of what I felt like coming up as a kid, and now that I have the opportunity to be a parent myself, that I can find whatever that style is for me. and sharing that has impacted that even now at the stage that I'm at. So that's probably my favorite part about reading Fierce Love.
Thank you. As Grandma Candy would say, chasing hot tail girls. Is that what you're calling?
You know, in Charlotte Christian,
Coach Ron, you didn't hear that. Sorry.
you know, in Charlotte Christian,
Coach Ron, you didn't hear that. Sorry. So based on that of really your family and you and Aisha now, do you have things that you have passed along from how you were raised to now what you're doing with Riley, Ryan, and Cannon?
Yeah, I think, well, first, the priority on quality of time, like you said, being intentional about every decision that you make and everything that you do, kind of comparing the way that, you know, we grew up with Pops playing in the league for, 16 years and 10 of them here in Charlotte, you running a full-fledged Montessori school and what was required there in terms of, the commitment and sacrifice of being a leader there, and also looking out for us as kids. Life is crazy, and there's a balancing act to everything. And to your point, sometimes you feel like you're doing it wrong. Sometimes you feel like, things are kind of out of control a little bit, that you always have to constantly measure what your priorities are and how you're evolving through the things that life, throws at you. And me and Aisha, especially, with the platform that we have, we talk about that constantly. Just that balancing act. And it always comes back to the quality of time that you have with your kids, where they feel seen, they feel loved, they feel cared for, they feel energized when you're in their presence. And the reward of that, you can already see it. Our kids are 10, 7, and 4, and we're just hitting that stride of, these years that matter so much. You're an example of that. I'm trying to pass on to them. And then obviously a love of learning, education, and reading, that reading them books every night that we have the opportunity to, being engaged with them in terms of their for Riley now, she's in 5th grade, being engaged with their classwork and asking them questions about what's going on at school, and just trying to be, proactive on letting them know that we see them, we hear them, and that, we're always going to be there for them, no matter how crazy our lives might seem or might get. So you always got to evolve. You always got to listen to your kids, and that quality of time matters so much, and how you shape their lives for the better, hopefully.
So a beautiful chaos is what I'm hearing.
Beautiful. Our family motto is "Thrive in Chaos." That's literally how life has turned out. So it's kind of crazy.
Oh. So we're here and we're kind of talking about my book, but you have a children's book coming out, your first book. And today is the first time that it's being debuted. So for those of you all who are able to purchase it today, here it is. It's so pretty. Cute. I have a superpower. What does it mean to you? And how has it been for you to see this come out?
I mean, this is crazy to think about, because I understand the platform that I have. I understand, the reach of being able to share inspiring stories, and the fact that there's been so much stuff that's been written about me and my journey and my career. The fact that you get a chance to meet kids where they are with a story that hopefully will inspire them to find their best selves, to find their true superpower. But it's not complicated. The superpower is already within you. We talk about we're all made unique. We all have, I think you mentioned it earlier, we all have something to offer the world, a specific, purpose and path that God has for us. And the fact that I think because obviously I'm not the tallest guy on the court, I'm not the strongest, fastest. I never have been. I was always, the scrawniest kid on every team that I played on. But I had a strong will, a strong heart, and a strong determination to work for everything that I got. And that's not just a story for sports, that's a story for life. Whatever you decide to put your mind to, you have the ability to accomplish it. You have to believe in yourself, you have to persevere through all the highs and the lows, and to be able to share that in hopefully a very engaging book like this, with Hughes as our lead character that is discovering this superpower on his own, and the team and the support system that's around him, that's encouraging him. I think that's a story for everybody. Not just the 4 to 7 year olds who this is supposed to be for. This is for everybody. This is hopefully an impactful story that gets you excited about finding what that unique skill set that you have is, and offer that to the world.
So is there a meaning behind his name, Q, or anything?
No, it's just part of the story, and
Okay.
I think it matches his appearance. I guess everybody. When you look at somebody, you're just like, what's his name supposed to be? And that was it. Hughes. Hughes.
Hughes.
Hughes.
Okay.
Hughes. Yeah.
Gotcha. You posted your book club with Literati for almost 2 years now. What has been some of your favorite things about leading this club?
Just the engagement from the community. Literati has an amazing platform where you can go on when you sign up to the book club. Not only do you get access to each of the titles that we select, but there's a chat and a section where you can engage through the book at the same time with everybody else who's reading it every month. And that's an amazing part of it, but also, just finding those underrated stories, titles, authors that need the platform to share their story, to the world. So your book's in there, some of my favorite authors, musicians that are now authors. Lecrae, we had his book was a selection. We've had engagement from people that have kind of offered up, suggestions of what the next book should be, and so it's a way for us to highlight the stories that need to be highlighted, to find diverse and culturally relevant stories and authors as well, and some of these authors have such appreciation for the opportunity because they're proud of their work. And it gives it a whole nother life when you put the underrated tag on there and you have Literati behind you and you have the ability to create a community around each of these titles. So hopefully it's here to stay. We're on a nice roll for each of these selections, and Fierce Love being the next one, and we're gonna keep going. Say what?
I need my autograph copy.
I know. I've seen your book, but now that we got the Literati Underrated Book Club tag, it's official now. You didn't need my stamp of approval on it, but it's nice. It's nice.
Oh, thank you. And again, sincerely, thank you for this opportunity to get this book out, get it within your community, and just share the message again. I really do appreciate it. And the biggest story, without even writing this book again, is Fidel, Seth, stand up. Callie, Damien, stand up. Damien, hurry up and stand up. Is really, again, your lives are a reflection of me and your father. So thank you all for, one, again, the way that you conduct your life. You're not perfect, but you get up every day and you try to be the best that you can, and you try to contribute to this world. You do contribute, you don't try. So thank you all for that. And thank you. I see a lot of people around here and in the stand, or just in the stands, that I've worked with over my 30-year career of being an educator, and just what you've poured in to me, to be encouraged to even write this book. So many of you all have just encouraged me to do it. And then times where I've had to call on, you've been my prayer warriors to keep going and be encouraged. I thank you as well. But I also just encourage each one of you guys to just keep at it. Just keep grinding, we say. Keep pounding at this thing called life. Because you got this, God got you. And so it's going to all work out. It's all going to come together. Stephen, what else we have?
So just thank everybody for coming out and for engaging in this conversation, asking great questions, being an audience to an amazing story, an amazing woman who is the product of an amazing family, and the opportunity to be back here in Charlotte to celebrate Fierce Love and all of its greatness. It means so much, I know, to my mom, to me, to our entire family. So thank you very much. Make sure, if you haven't read it already, if you have, go get it. Get a copy for your friends, your family, whoever you think will be impacted by it. And also, I have a superpower as well, and the Underrated Book Club, partnered with Literati. We are truly thankful for the opportunity to be here to host this Q&A.